Good morning. Good morning, everyone. You are now audible. Good morning. Good morning to okay, before I begin, yes, we are here to discuss a very important topic about CA Fine Coffee. From the chapter of pricing decisions. Pricing decisions, you have a very important topic called optimization model. This will be the most famous topic for questions. Discussing about this optimization model, take a look back. Important announcements for you. Unacademy, it is proud to announce that we have launched the iconic program for CFI. Iconic program was already there for CFA Media and we have also launched it for the CFI students. What is the iconic program? What do you have in that iconic program? Let's see. Well, under this iconic program, we'll be having live mentoring platform, live mentoring, as in a mentoring platform. Live mentoring meaning you will be having a live mentor for each and every student. Will be a mentor. Will be given one specific person who is dedicated for only your topic. There will be one-to-one doubt solving. Plus, there will be evaluated test series. Three tests will be conducted and the test papers will be checked. So evaluated means given the checked evaluated test paper. Printed copies of the material will be given. Plus all the regular benefits of plus subscription benefits like and classes you can attend, weekly tests will be there, study materials will be given, unlimited access you can get to lectures, not like only one time or unlimited number of times. And the biggest benefit is there will be structured courses. You'll find many topics on YouTube, you'll find many topics as special classes, free classes. Some of them will be structured, full-fledged back. With the plus subscription and iconic subscription, you will get proper structured courses for education. This is the biggest benefit of test series that we are launching will be under three stages. First test, first test will be conducted at 40% and 80% syllabus completion, and the third test at 100% syllabus. Every test there will be an analysis where the faculty will discuss the paper, solve the paper in class. And later, the expert must have checked your paper. He will come in contact with you for personal guidance. I mean, how did you perform in the paper? The feedback on your performance. Trust me, it doesn't get better. These are the pricings for the iconic program. And under these pricings, you can use code Yeshas Academy. get further 10% charge on monthly subscription basis. So you don't have to pay for every, just pay for the period of subscription. Then after that period, you can watch any subject of group 2 in one, any number of times, watch any subject of any faculty. You can also go for combo subscription of group 1 plus combo. Again, you can use code Yeshas Academy. Anyway, so that is about the iconic program. Now, coming back to our topic over here for today. Topic about for today is about profit maximization model. Meanwhile, just let me know, is my audio pretty much clear to you or not? Yeah. Profit maximization model. What exactly? This is the best method for deciding the price of normally decided how. So normally you will have by taking cost plus profit gives you the selling. Normally, whenever any company decides a selling price, they say that selling price is decided like this. Mostly since your IPCC level, since your intermediate level, decided a selling price. Mostly decided selling price by adding from cost, unit, and profit per unit. Yes, that gives you new price per unit. This method of selling price, this method of deciding selling price, name that as cost plus consumable. Method of deciding cost plus consumable. However, this method might not be possible also because this is the method where by adding profit to the price. Now, does this method consider the market price? Does this method consider the market? What happens with this method is that if an user, if say for example, if my cost is very high, if I incur more cost, then after adding profit to this cost, my selling price will also become very high. Will the customer be ready to pay that high selling price? What I should also consider is that how much price is the customer willing to pay? Because if I always charge selling price by adding profit to my cost, this price might become so high that customers will not demand more. The biggest impact of this method is this method does not consider the demand. Doesn't consider the demand curve or demand law. of the customer. Like, basic law of demand says what? Law of demand says that if you charge very high price, then your demand will fall. I charge price like this, price and include sufficient profit that I want. But what if at this price the demand becomes very less? My total profit will not be good. That is where enters your method known as profit maximization method. Profit maximization model says you decide a selling price such that it will maximize your total profit. Cost plus pricing method ignores the demand. Ignores the demand, ignores the law of demand. And that is why we have the new method called profit maximization model and as now method 2. Profit maximization method. This method is the method which will consider the demand of the customer. It will consider the law of demand. This method is applicable when demand is fluctuating due to selling price. What do I mean by this? Demand is fluctuating due to selling price. This means that if selling price charged is high, then demand will fall. And this is the fact if my demand fluctuates because of changes in selling price, then you have to follow the problem. No, this is practically true in circumstances. This is not practically happen.
Hello, hello. Yeah, now I think my audio is better. So, so in most of circumstances, in practical situations, my demand will be fluctuating because of selling price. My demand will fall when selling price will increase. Well, that is why profit maximization model is a better model. And in such case, how do we choose the selling price? Simple. Choose the selling price at which total profit is maximum. Yes, you choose the selling price at which the total profit is maximum. That's it. Now, there are two methods to do that. Yes, within profit maximization model, within that profit maximization model, we will have two separate methods to do that. Two separate methods to choose selling price at which profit is maximum. Now, those two methods is what I'm going to discuss today. Yeah. So, profit maximization model can be done by two ways. Number one, trial and error method. Very simple. You try calculating the total profit at various different selling prices. We just noticed that as my selling price increases, the demand will fall. As the selling price decreases, demand will increase. So at various different selling prices, you will have different demands. This method simply says that you calculate total profit for all the options of selling prices given. Choose the selling price at which total profit is maximum. Simple. We'll start from that method. But then I will take you to a more better method, a more realistic method called as equations method. Yeah. But first, let us study the simpler one, trial and error method. This is the method under which the method goes like this. I calculate total profit for various options of selling price, and thereby choose the selling price at which total profit is maximum. Yeah, choose the selling price at which total profit is maximum. That's it. So we'll see one question for that matter. I'll pick up a question from my book. And yes, before I forgot to announce, let me announce that yes, I'm starting a new batch for CA final costing from tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, 7th of December, my new batch for CA final costing is starting. My book that I'm now going to use, you can get that book when you start my new batch tomorrow. You can also join my Telegram channel. I will be posting my latest version of the book on my Telegram channel today, by today evening itself. Okay? Okay, so I'll use one question from my book over here. Look at this question. Question number 4. Generally, for trial and error method, your question will be like this. Notice in this question, I'm giving you selling price and I'm giving you demand. Yeah, so selling prices, different selling prices are given and different demands are given. And you notice that as my selling price it keeps on increasing, as my selling price keeps increasing, my demand keeps decreasing. Yes, at selling price of 30, demand is 400, but as my selling price increases 31.5, 33, 34.5, and so on, my demand keeps on decreasing. This simply indicates the law of demand. Yeah. So which selling price out of these is the best selling price? Well, naturally, if I charge a high price, if I keep my selling price very high, then my per unit profit will be more. Yes, each unit will give me more profit. But at that high price, the total units that I sell itself is very less. While if I charge a very less price, then my demand will be more, units sold will be more, but because of less price, each unit will not earn any significant profit. So which is the best selling price? Best selling price is the one at which my total profit is maximum. Okay? Now, ideally, profit maximization says that you maximize the total profit. But you can also solve this by simply maximizing the total contribution. Why? Because whether I charge low selling price or whether I charge high selling price, whether I sell 400 units or whether I sell 240 units, in any case, my fixed cost is going to remain same. Yes, if the fixed cost is going to remain same, the fixed cost is going to remain same, then let if the fixed cost is going to remain the same, then in that case, we don't need to calculate profit for each of these prices, we will simply calculate total contribution for each of these prices. Okay, so I'll show that working here itself. देखो, work out total contribution for each of these options and find out that which option gives me maximum total contribution. Now total contribution will be calculated at the rate of selling price minus variable cost per unit. For each of these options, selling prices are these selling prices. Variable cost, let us see. You're given cost details over here. Material 12, labor 3 per unit, variable overheads 3 per unit. So chalo, this makes it 18 per unit. Plus you also have selling expenses as a 10% on sales. Now that is depending on the selling price. 10% on sales means 10% of selling price. Okay? Fixed production overheads, admin expenses also fixed. Fixed costs will not be relevant because whether I choose high price or whether I choose a low price, in any case, your fixed expenses are going to remain the same. Fixed expense are anyways going to remain same, so that I can say is not relevant. So let's see, only items relevant are your variable items. So my contribution will be at the rate selling price minus 18 rupees variable cost and minus 10% of selling price, which is the selling expenses. Yeah. So let us identify the contribution rate for each of these, and then we can convert that into total contribution. First, I'll just mention the rates for most of them. So first item here, 30 selling price minus 18 minus 10% of 30, that is 3. That is 9 per unit. Second is 31.5 minus 18 minus 3.15 is 10.35. 33 minus 18 minus 3.3, 11.7. 4.5 minus 18 minus 3.45. These are all my contribution rate. Let us convert them into total contribution. So the first one will be 9 into 400. 9 into 400 is 3600. Likewise, we'll identify total contribution for each of them. Choose the one at which total contribution is maximum. That's it. Yep. 10.35 into 380, 3933. You see now the total contribution has started decreasing. Yes, so the highest total contribution that I get is over here. So my maximum total contribution is 4536. So this means that the selling price of 36 is giving me the maximum total contribution. Yeah, the selling price of 36 is giving me the maximum total contribution. Then this selling price is the best selling price. That's it. Done? Yes, this becomes my best selling price. This becomes my best selling price to choose under the profit maximization model. Yeah, and I can put as my final answer here. Best selling price is rupees 36 per unit. Yeah, this is called as my trial and error method for profit maximization model. It's a very simple method, but trust me, this method is very useful. It's used very extensively in many other chapters also. In fact, this method is widely used in your chapter of transfer pricing also. And you'll see that in the chapter of transfer pricing, many questions will be directly based on this profit maximization model, trial and error method. Huh? Yes, I'll give you a minute. If you have to copy things down, please do copy this for your reference and then I proceed further. Yep. Let me know if you have any questions until then. Yes, should be done with that now. Okay, so coming back over here, we did question 4 for this very simple method, trial and error method to decide that which selling price gives you maximum profit. But my more important method is the equations method. Equations method is actually a statistical method. It is a method based on microeconomics. Yes, it is a method based on your concept of economics subject only. In fact, this equations method you might have already learned in the theory. What we will learn today is the practical questions of the same. Yeah. So tell me, have you learned some theory like this? You have learned this in your CPT level, CPT and foundation level. I'll show you. Tell me, you might have heard of this MC equals to MR. This is an equation, and the profit is maximum when MC equals to MR. We will learn what is MC, we will learn what is MR, and I will give you the logic that why is the profit maximum when MC is equal to MR. Yes, so what is MC? MC is the marginal cost. MR is the marginal revenue. Marginal means for one additional unit. Let's see. I'll make a detailed discussion of that down here. As per equations method, the basics are simple. Basics are very simple, that profit is maximum when MC equals to MR. But more details of that I'll show you down here. The word MC means marginal cost, and marginal cost means cost of producing one extra unit. Cost of producing one extra unit. Now, in my subject of costing, if I have only two items of cost, fixed cost and variable cost. There are only two types of cost, fixed cost and variable cost. Then which cost do I incur for producing one extra unit? Well, the cost for producing one extra unit is therefore only the variable cost. So conclusion, indirectly, the word marginal cost means variable cost per unit. Yes, variable cost per unit. While marginal revenue, MR, is more interesting. MR is the marginal revenue, that is the revenue earned from selling one extra unit. Revenue that I earned by selling one extra unit. Now, for producing one extra unit, what I incur is the variable cost. So can I say that for selling one extra unit, the revenue that I earn is equal to selling price Well, no. For selling one extra unit, the revenue that I earn is not equal to selling price. Why? I'll show you. I'll prove it to you with some examples here. But the main logic here is that for selling one extra unit, imagine for selling one extra unit, you have to decrease your selling price because demand is depending on the selling price. Demand is depending on the selling price. In this example, like in this example, at price of 30 rupees, maximum I can sell is 400 units. At price of 39 rupees, maximum I can sell is 240 units. Now, if I want to sell one unit extra instead of 240, if I want to sell one unit extra, 241 units if I want to sell, then for one extra unit, will I get selling price of same 39? No, because at the price of 39, maximum you can sell is 240 units. If you want to sell one unit extra, if you want to sell any extra units, then you will have to, you can see here, decrease the selling price. Yes, so I can see here that for selling 40 extra units, you had to decrease selling price by 1.5 rupees. Yes, for selling 40 extra units, you had to decrease selling price by 1.5 rupees. So, what is the total revenue there? Let's see. Total revenue means total sales. Imagine at 39 rupees selling price, units are 240. So, 39 into 240. Do this 39 into 240. What is the total sales? Thirty-nine into 240 is 9360. Now you see that for selling 40 units extra, for selling 40 extra units, you had to decrease the selling price by 1.5, but that 1.5 you had to decrease on only the extra 40 units? No, 1.5 you had to decrease on all the units. Yes, so for selling 40 extra units, if you want to sell 280 units, then you must charge selling price of 37.5 on all the units. Yeah, so 37.5 into 280. Total sales is 10,500. And now I ask you that marginal revenue is the revenue earned from selling one extra unit. It is the revenue from selling one extra unit. So here you notice that for selling 40 extra units, my revenue is how much? For selling 40 extra unit, how much extra sales did I get? 10,500 minus 9360. 10,500 minus 9360. So you notice for selling 40 extra units, you got extra revenue of 1140. Yeah. So for selling one extra unit, how much extra revenue did you get? 1140 divided by 40, 28.5. 1140 divided by 40 is 28.5. That 28.5 is called as my marginal revenue. Revenue from selling one extra unit. I'll show that example again here. Check this. In fact, I'll create a little new example here. Just notice. I'm using example out of the next question that I will be showing it to you. Let's see. If my selling price is, or so let me keep that same example. If my selling price was 39 in that example, then demand was 240 units. If my selling price is decreased to 37.5, then demand becomes 280 units. So you identified total revenue here, that at the price of 39, demand is 240 units. So total revenue 39 into 240 is 9360. And selling price 37.5, demand 280. If you multiply, then the total revenue is 10,500. This shows that for selling 40 units extra, for selling extra 40 units, you are getting extra revenue of 10,500 minus 9360, 1140. And therefore, marginal revenue over there will be 1140 divided by 40. It's 28.5. This is called as my marginal revenue. Look, right now, I'm not teaching you profit maximization. Right now, I'm just explaining to you the meaning of marginal cost and marginal revenue. Marginal cost is basically variable cost per unit. Marginal revenue is the revenue from selling one extra unit. Well, as per this example, I'm getting a revenue from selling 40 extra units. They have not given details of selling one extra unit. They have given us details for selling 40 extra units. So my revenue from selling 40 extra units is 1140. So if 1140 is the revenue from selling 40 extra units, then revenue from selling one extra unit is 1140 divided by 40, that is 28.5. This is called as my marginal revenue. My equations method is going to use this MC and MR to make an equation and identify the level at which my total profit is maximum. Now let me tell you that why is this equation method better than the trial method. Well, this trial method will give you the best selling price. This trial method will give you best selling price only out of the options given over here. Yes, this will give you the best selling price out of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 options given here. But what about the other options which are not given here? What about the other options which are not given here? Like for example, 36 selling price is giving me maximum total contribution. But what if 36.5 would give me even better contribution. Possible? Yes, possible. But 36.5 is not mentioned in this list over here. So we did not check. In short, trial method will give you the best selling price only out of the trials given. If you want an overall best selling price, if you want a realistic best selling price, then you have to go by equations method. Trial method gives you the best selling price only out of the options given. Equations method is doing what? Well, equations method is simply creating an equation between this price and demand. Yes, equations method will not use individual examples of price and demand. Rather, equations method will create an equation between price and demand, between price and quantity. And using this equation, you will then identify the best selling price. So if you identify best selling price out of the trials given, it will give you the best out of these trials. But if you identify the best price from the equation, it will give you best out of all possible options. That is the benefit of equations method. Yes, equations method will give you the best selling price out of all the possible options. Trial method will give you the best selling price out of the given options only. That is how my two methods are different. So trial method will give you best selling price out of given options. And equations method will give you best selling price out of all possible options. By making an equation between price and quantity. We'll call that as the price equation, or you can call that as the demand equation. The general format of this price equation goes like this. P equals to A minus BQ. This is a general format of the price equation, or you can call that as the demand equation. In this equation, I'll give you some notations. A is the maximum possible selling price. Maximum selling price meaning the selling price at which demand equals to 0. It is a selling price which is so high selling price at which the demand becomes 0. That is my A value. And then B indicates the rate of change in demand because of change in price. B indicates the rate of change in demand because of change in price. Mathematically, it is expressed. Mathematically, it is expressed like this. There is a change in price divided by change in quantity. And conceptually, I can say it indicates the decrease in selling price required for selling one extra unit. It indicates the decrease in selling price required for selling one extra unit. I'll show you that with some examples. We'll understand that with some examples here. Let's see. I'm taking example from question 14 of my book, chapter 6. But I'll not show you the question because the entire question is pretty huge. I will be discussing only the profit maximization part from the question. So I'm just taking a small part of the question and writing that over here. Let's see. Is given in the question that at a selling price of 17 lakhs 10,000, there will be zero demand. Well, in the question, the company is manufacturing and selling train wagons. Wagons, dibba, train ka dibba. They are manufacturing and selling the train wagons, and at the selling price of 17 lakhs 10,000, there will be zero demand. Plus, they give you further details like this. That demand will increase by 2 units with every rupees 50,000 reduction in selling price. So from the selling price of 17 lakhs 10,000, with every reduction of 50,000, demand will increase by 2 units. Now this can be expressed in a table format, and that same table can also be expressed in an equations format. First, let me show you table format for this. But before that, let me also conclude and add one more information in the question. That variable cost per unit is equal to moment. Okay, consider this is the question. Then, for understanding this question, first let me show you a table format. And you see that at the selling price of rupees 17 lakhs 10,000, they say that the demand will be 0 units. Then they say that demand will increase by 2 units with every 50,000 reduction in selling price. 50,000 reduction in a selling price. So start from this 17 lakhs 10,000 minus 50,000 reduction. So from 1710, if I reduce 50,000 selling price, it becomes 16 lakhs 60,000. So for every 50,000 reduction in a selling price, demand will increase by 2 units. So the demand will now become 2 units. Again, another 50,000 reduction in selling price, because they say for every 50,000 reduction in a selling price. So from 1660, another 50,000 if I decrease, then selling price becomes 16 lakhs 10,000. Demand will become again plus 2, 4 units, and so on. You notice, you notice in general that as selling price decreases, then demand is increasing. With the decrease in selling price, then demand is increasing. This is basically the law of demand. And this same thing, this entire expression can be presented in an equation format like this. This entire thing can be expressed in equation as this: P equals to A minus BQ, where P is the price, Q is the quantity, A is the price at which demand is 0. Maximum selling price at which demand is 0. Well, you see here that demand is 0 at the price of 17 lakhs 10,000. So this 1710 I can say is my A value. Yeah. And B equals to change in price by change in quantity. Change in price by change in quantity, you can see over here that when price decreased by 50,000, then quantity increased by 2. So change in price is 50,000 and change in quantity is 2 units. So B value becomes therefore 25,000. Yes, I understand it should come negative 25,000, but I told you the formula here as simply change in price by change in quantity. Ignore the positive negative sign. I know it will be always a negative. Because it is always a negative, that is why I made the formula itself as a minus B into Q. I put that minus sign because I know B will always be negative. Don't put the B value negative then, because I've already made the equation negative here. Okay? So A minus BQ now becomes like this. Therefore, P equals to A value is 17 lakhs 10,000 minus B is 25,000 Q. This is called as my price equation, or you can say demand equation. This is my discussion about price equation or demand equation. So the point is that whatever you had in a table format, that same table can be converted into an equation. If you keep it in a table format, then you will choose the best selling price only out of the options visible in the table. Yes, if you keep it in a table format, then you will get best selling price only out of the table options. But if I convert that into an equation, then my options now become infinite. Yes, equation will indicate infinite possibilities. It will indicate infinite possibilities that for selling 0 quantity, what should be the price? For selling 2 quantity, what should be the price? For selling 4 quantity, what should be the price? 6, 8, 10, 12, infinite possibilities you will get over here. And therefore, now the maximum profit that you get, now the best selling price that you choose will be the best selling price out of these infinite possibilities. That is why this method becomes the better method here. Okay? Yeah. So right now I've just proved it to you that why is this method better. But now let us see how to use this method, how to identify the best selling price over here. Well, now under this method, to identify the best selling price, all you have to do is find out the point at which MC is equal to MR. But chalo, right now we identified a price equation, which is this, which is in my case this. But we need to also find out what is MR, marginal revenue. So let us identify now the marginal revenue over here. There are various stages under the equations method. I'm coming back to stage 2, that was marginal revenue. I'll come back to stage 2 now. That is revenue from selling one extra unit. Well, let us see that over here. For selling 0 units, when I sell 0 units, my revenue is, well, 0. Revenue means total sales. So when I sell 0 units, then my revenue is obviously 0. But when I sell 2 units, then my revenue is 2 into this. So 16,60,000 into 2. My revenue is 33,20,000. Yeah. So how much did my revenue increase? So you notice that my revenue increases by 33,20,000 for selling 2 extra units. So how much is the increase in revenue for selling 1 extra unit? That is called as my marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is the extra revenue from selling 1 extra unit. This 3320 is my extra revenue from selling 2 extra units. So divide by 2 makes it 16,60,000 as my marginal revenue. So you notice here that my marginal revenue is equal to the selling price, but not necessary it is equal always. Let's see one more step further. After selling 2 units, if I want to sell 4 units, meaning 2 units extra if I want to sell, then for selling extra 2 units, you need to decrease the selling price. Yeah, at the selling price of 1660, you can sell 2 units. If you want to sell extra units, then you need to reduce selling price. In fact, you need to reduce selling price on all the units, not only on the additional units. Tell me, this 1610, is this the selling price applicable for only the extra units, or is this price applicable for entire demand of 4? Well, this price is applicable for the entire demand of 4 units. It shows that you need to decrease the price on all the units, then you will be able to sell 4 units. So what is my total revenue here? 1610 into 4. 16 lakhs 10,000 into 4. Total revenue is 64 lakhs 40,000. And yes, again, you notice that my revenue is increasing. Sixty-four forty minus 33 lakhs 20,000. How much is the increase? Increase is 31 lakhs 20,000. So you notice that for selling first 2 extra units, you got a revenue of 3320. But for selling the next 2 extra units, for selling next 2 units extra, you are getting revenue of only 31 lakhs 20,000. Yeah. So what is the marginal revenue? Marginal means revenue from selling 1 extra unit. From selling 2 extra units, I'm getting 3120. So 3120 divided by 2. My revenue from 1 extra unit is now 15 lakhs 60,000. Now this time you notice that my marginal revenue is not the same as selling price. My marginal revenue is lesser than the selling price. You notice that as my demand, if you want to sell more units, then selling price has to decrease and marginal revenue will decrease even more than that. For selling extra units, your selling price has to decrease, marginal revenue will decrease even more than that. For selling the first 2 units, my marginal revenue was 1660. But after that, for every extra unit, I am getting only 15 lakh 60,000. Same way, as you continue this further, my marginal revenue will keep falling and falling. Yes, my marginal revenue will keep falling and falling more and more. So now let us try 2 more of them here. From 1610, again decrease selling price by 50,000. If I want to sell more units, I need to drop the price. Drop the price from 1610 minus 50,000 makes it 1560. Again, drop the selling price, it will become 1510, and demand will increase by plus 2 plus 2. But in all those cases, my revenue also, let us identify, 1560 into 6. 15 lakh 60,000 into 6 units is 93 lakhs 60,000. 15 lakh 10,000 into 8 is 120 lakhs 80,000. And see the increase in revenue each time. 93 lakhs 60,000 minus 64 lakhs 40,000 is 2920. And over here, 120 lakhs 80,000 minus 93 lakhs 60,000, 2720. So you notice that after this stage, if I wish to sell 2 units extra, then I need to decrease my selling price by 50,000. So my total revenue is now 9360. It means that for selling these 2 extra units, I'm getting extra revenue of 2920. So per unit is how much? 29 lakhs 20,000 divided by 2 is 14 lakhs 60,000 is the extra revenue I got. Yeah. Similarly, for selling these 2 extra units, I'm getting 2720 extra revenue. 27 lakhs 20,000 divided by 2 is the 13 lakhs 60,000 extra revenue I'm getting. Well, if you notice that when I continue like this, don't you see that if I continue like this, then my marginal revenue keeps on decreasing? Yes, your marginal revenue is keeping on decreasing. So now to prove my point, let me just show you one more level over here. That will end it. 1510 minus 50,000 is 14 lakhs 60,000. I can sell 10 units. There's a total revenue of 140.60. So for selling 2 extra units, how much extra sales did I get? 140.60 minus 120.80, 1980. No, minute. This is not 140.60, this is 146. Sorry. And so this 2520 divided by 2 gives me marginal revenue of 1260. So what do these marginal revenues indicate? Look, each of these marginal revenues indicates that for selling one extra unit, this is the revenue that I get. Now for selling one extra unit, if these are the revenues which you get, then the question is that how many extra units should you sell? For selling one extra unit, if this is the revenue which you get, for selling one extra unit, if these are the revenues which you get, then should I sell these two extra units? Should I sell these two extra units? Should I sell these two extra units or not? That is my question. So chalo, let me start from the beginning here. At the price of 1710, my demand was 0. Should I choose this price as the best price? No, because at this price my demand is 0. Demand is 0, revenue 0, profit is 0. No, this is not a good price. Yeah. Second price. At this price of 1610, I'm able to sell 2 extra units. And for each of these extra 2 units, I'm getting revenue of 1660. Should I sell these 2 extra units? Yes. Why? Because extra 2 units is giving me marginal revenue, extra revenue of 1660 per unit. Every extra unit is giving me revenue of 1660, while every extra unit is costing me how much? Yes, this marginal revenue should now be compared with the marginal cost. This marginal revenue can now be compared with the marginal cost. Marginal cost means the cost of producing one extra unit. Well, for producing one extra unit, my cost is the variable cost 1360, because marginal cost is always equal to the variable cost per unit. So for selling one extra unit, I am getting a revenue of 1660, but my cost is only 1360. Should I sell this extra unit? Yes. Should I sell these 2 extra units? Yes, you must sell 2 extra units. But still go further, that for selling another 2 extra units, I'm getting revenue. For selling another 2 extra units, I'm getting extra revenue of 1560 per unit. Every extra unit is now giving me extra revenue 1560, while every extra unit has extra cost of only 1360. Should I sell that extra unit? Yes. My marginal cost is always 1360. And that is where my concept comes, that you keep selling extra units until when? You keep selling extra units until MC is equal to MR. I can say that my best selling price here is this one here. Why? Because look at this price of 1510. At this selling price of 1510, I'm getting demand of 8 units. My total revenue is this much. My marginal revenue is 1360. Marginal cost is also 1360. Meaning for selling these 2 extra units, I'm getting extra revenue of 1360, while my extra cost is also 1360. Beyond this level here, now if I decrease my price, my quantity will increase, but these extra 2 units are not suitable. Why not suitable? Because for these 2 extra units, for these 2 extra units, I'm getting extra revenue of 1260 only, but my extra cost is 1360. Yes, so these extra units, if I sell, it is giving me less revenue and more cost. So I should not sell that 2 extra units. Until when should I keep increasing the units? I can keep increasing the units until this level here. Until this level here. I can keep increasing my units until this level here. This is my concept of MC equals to MR. I showed this by table method in every question. You don't do this by table method in every question. We will do this by equation method. And to do this by equations method, I need an equation of price. I also need an equation of marginal revenue. So now let me show you how to make equation of marginal revenue. Well, for marginal revenue, I will directly give you the equation. I will not show you the derivation, because if I show you derivation, you will get lost, because the derivation of this equation requires differentiation integration. And I'm very sure that you all are not very comfortable with differentiation. So I'll not give you the derivation. I ask you to memorize this equation. My marginal revenue equation goes like this. Goes like this. It is A minus 2BQ. So in this example here, in this question here, I can say therefore marginal revenue is A. What is A? In my example here, A is 1710 minus 2 into B into Q. In my example here, B is 25,000. You can check this with my examples here. Like for example, if my quantity is taken as 1, then 1710 minus 2 into 25,000 into 1. Let's see how much do I get. 17 lakhs 10,000 minus 2 into 25,000, minus 50,000 is 1660. Meaning the marginal revenue for selling my first extra unit is 1660. Marginal revenue for first extra unit is 1660. Same way you can try that out for any quantity. Say for demand equals to 6. I take quantity here as 6. Let's see, 2 into 25,000 into 6 is 3 lakhs, minus that from 17 lakhs 10,000 is 1410. Is it? No, 1460. Just a minute. Yeah. So in short, you will get your marginal revenue for various different quantities by this equation here. Yeah, this is the equation which we will use. And so my conclusion now. Profit is maximum when MC equals to MR. I'll use this equation like this. My MC in this question is the variable cost per unit is the MC. That is 13,60,000. And MR will be taken as this equation. And now in this equation, you solve this equation to find the value of Q. Yeah. You solve this equation to find Q. That is 17,10,000 minus 13,60,000 is 350 divided by 35 into 250,000. Get Q equals to 7. Now this Q equals to 7 is the best quantity to sell. Q equals to 7 is the best quantity to sell. You saw that over here, that I got the best level as this. But like I told you, table method will give you best only out of these visible options. What about the options in between them? Like देखो, you see the option of 6 units demanded, you see the option of 8 units demanded, but you don't see the option of 7 units demand. Now you see that the best quantity to sell is 7 units, which was not visible in the table format. Table format will give you best answer out of these given options only. Equations method will give you overall best answer here. So overall best answer is to sell 7 quantity. Best quantity to sell is 7, and therefore the best selling price we get from the original price equation. What was the price equation? Here, this was my price equation. Use that equation. Best selling price we get by taking P equals to 1710 minus 25,000 Q. Now you know that the best quantity is 7. So for that best quantity 7, what should be the price? Find out that over here. $25,000 into 7 minus that from 17 lakhs 10,000 gives me 15 lakhs 35,000. This becomes my final answer, that 15 lakhs 35,000 is the best selling price that I can keep. You notice that under table method, I got the best selling price as 15 lakhs 10,000. But by equation method, I am getting a better answer. Your table method will give you best answer only out of the options visible in the table. But the option not visible here was an option in between over here. That between 1560 and 1510, between 6 units and 8 units demand, there was one more level which was not visible, which will give me the best profit. That is called as my best selling price. This is my profit maximization model. Done? Yes, I'll show that to you again. If you have to copy these things, please do copy that full thing. Just scroll back up and show you everything again. Copy that, then I'll give you a conclusion of this method. Yep, we'll scroll down. Yep, we'll scroll. So this table format which I showed you is only for your understanding. When you solve questions of equations method in the exam, if you get a question of equations method, obviously you don't have to make this table. You just have to identify what is A, what is B, make a price equation, make an equation of MR, and then directly take MC equals to MR. That's it. Yeah, you don't have to show the table format. This was only for your explanation. Let me know if you have any questions here, please. Yeah, we'll scroll. It's done. Okay, now I'll just give you a full summary of all this discussion here, and I'll show you that from my summary notes. Yes, at the end of every chapter, I have summary notes like these. End of every chapter in my book, you'll find summary notes like this, and these summary notes will summarize everything, like theory also, practicals also, and even case study summaries also you'll find here. Yeah. Right now I'll show you a practical question summary here about profit maximization model. Let's see. Law of demand states that with increase in price, demand will decrease. Thus we must choose the best price such that overall profit is maximum. Yeah, not the sales should be maximum, but the profit should be maximum. This can be done by two ways: trial and error method or equation method. Trial method is very easy. You calculate a total contribution at the different given prices using the given quantities. Choose the price which gives maximum total contribution. This method gives approximate answer because this method gives you the best price only out of the given options. If you want the best price out of all possible situations, then you need to go for equations method. Equations method says that profit is maximum at the price when MC equals to MR. Marginal cost equals to marginal revenue. I proved this to you using that example. In fact, let me also show you that you might have learned this in your CPT or foundational level using a graph method. याद करो, as per your law of demand, your law of demand says this. This line indicates your law of demand because x-axis is my quantity, y-axis is the price, and this line shows that For selling more quantity, you need to decrease the price. Yeah, for selling more quantity, you must decrease the price. This is what your law of demand suggests. So this line over here is my price line, or you can say the demand line, price equation or demand equation. Okay. Now, along with that, you can also now make over here another line here. This second line that you see here becomes the marginal revenue. You noticed that for 0 units, when 0 units were sold, then marginal revenue was equal to the price. This point here is the maximum possible price. In my example, that maximum price was 17 lakhs 10,000. At the price of 1710, there was zero demand. Yeah, so that maximum price itself will be the marginal revenue for selling 0 units. Then for selling every extra unit, you need to drop the price and your marginal revenue will also drop. Yeah, for selling every extra unit, your price will drop, marginal revenue will drop. But you noticed that marginal revenue was dropping faster than the price drop. So my marginal revenue line is below the price line. And then marginal cost line will go something like this. And the point where MC equals to MR is this point over here. The quantity at that point becomes the equilibrium quantity. And for that equilibrium quantity, if you want a price, then I extend that line up to the price line and get the price over here. This price becomes the best selling price. This is what you did in the equations method, and the same thing I explained here with the graph method. Graph is the one that you might have learned at your CPT foundation level. You do not need to learn the graph at final level. I'm just showing you the graph because maybe this is what you did in your CPT foundation. Now, in your CPT foundation level, you just learned the graph. Now we are learning a calculations based on the same graph. Okay? So profit is maximum at the price when MC equals to MR. So step 1, you identify the equation for demand or equation for price, that is P equals to A minus BQ, where A is the price at which quantity is 0, maximum price. B is change in price by change in quantity. Then step 2, find total revenue based on this price. Now step 3 is actually derivation of MR. This is basically the derivation of marginal revenue, which I did not teach you, but just for your reference, I'm writing that here, that if this is my price, then my total revenue will be price into quantity. So price into quantity is this equation into Q. This equation A minus BQ into Q is AQ minus PQ square is called as my total revenue. And then marginal revenue means revenue from one extra unit sold. Well, marginal revenue, if it is a revenue from one extra unit sold, then mathematically it means that marginal revenue is differentiation of total revenue with respect to quantity. Differentiation of total revenue with respect to quantity. So d by dq of total revenue. D by dq of total revenue is this. So d by dq of aq minus bq square. Make the differentiation of this, it gives you A minus 2BQ. So marginal revenue is A minus 2BQ. This is the derivation. You will understand this only if you know the concept and calculations of differentiation. Now, most of you don't even know anything about differentiation. Some of you who know about differentiation, you might remember only the calculation. I seriously doubt that you know the basic concept of differentiation. Yeah, but anyways, I'm not getting into that because I'm not teaching mathematics to you right now. I'm teaching costing, so I'm just using that mathematics to derive the equation of marginal revenue. So I get marginal revenue as A minus 2BQ. In every single question, marginal revenue is always A minus 2BQ. So you don't need to remember the derivation. You just remember the equation of MR. MR is A minus 2BQ. Now if you take MC equals to MR, MC is the variable cost per unit which is given. MR is this. So now you take MC equals to MR, that is step 3, this equals to step 4, this. Make equation, solve and find Q. To find the value of Q, this Q indicates equilibrium quantity, that is best quantity to sell. Once you get the best quantity to sell, you find out that what should be the price to sell this best quantity. What should be the selling price to sell the best quantity? Using equilibrium quantity, find the price as P equals to A minus BQ. This price indicates the equilibrium price, that is the best possible price at which profit is maximum. This is absolutely what we did in my example here. Yeah, I took MC equals to MR and found the best quantity to sell, and using that best quantity you find the best selling price. So you see, as such, solution of this question is only this much. My solution of that example is only this much here. Rest everything was only for explanation. I'll even show you which question did I solve. I gave you the details of the question here, but let me also show you that question in my book, just so that you get more confidence in that. It was this question, question 14. I'll not read the entire question, I'll just read the necessary part in the question. The first paragraph in the question is time pass, useless. Let us start reading from here. Way2 India Limited has two divisions, namely bogie division and a wagon division for manufacturing of a wagon. BD, bogie division, manufactures bogies, and a WD manufactures various types of wagons like freight wagon, tank wagon, etc. To manufacture a wagon, listen to this, you need 4 bogies. So 4 bogies are needed to make one final product, one finished goods of wagon. BD is the only manufacturer of bogies and supplies to both WD and to outside customers. Details of WD and BD for the financial year are as follows. So my bogie division, variable cost is given. Wagon division, variable cost is given. And the wagon division variable cost is excluding the transfer cost. You noticed that 4 bogies are needed for making one wagon. And now they say that variable cost of wagon 480 is excluding the transfer cost. Transfer means the bogies which were transferred from BD to WD. So my total variable cost of wagon will therefore be involving the bogie cost. One bogie is costing 2,20,000 and my wagon requires 4 bogies. One bogie costing 220, my wagon requires 4 such bogies, so 2,20,000 into 4 is 880 is my bogie cost, plus other variable cost is 480. You are given over here. Yeah. So my total variable cost of wagon is 880 plus 480, that is 1360. This is what I gave you in my example directly. Okay. Market research has indicated that the demand in the market for the company at different quotations are as follows. Again, in that demand, ignore this demand for bogie because I'm not discussing about selling price of bogies. Right now, my question is about selling price of my final product, wagons. So look at the details about wagon that you are given. It says that at the quotation price of 1710, no tender will be awarded. No tender means zero demand. So at the price of 1710, the demand will be zero. So this becomes my A value, the price at which quantity will be zero. But the demand for wagons will increase by 2 with every 50,000 reduction in the unit price. This gives me my B value. That for every 50,000 rupees reduction in the price, my quantity increased by 2 units. So B value therefore becomes 25,000 per unit. It means that for every extra unit, you need to drop the price by 25,000. Yeah. So I have the A value, I have the B value, and the question is asking me this. They're asking me calculate the price of the wagon that will maximize the company profit. Calculate price of the wagon which will maximize the overall profit of the company. And this we did by doing simply MC equals to MR, and this is what we did over here. By taking MC equals to MR, I get the best price as 15,35,000. Yes, this, my dear friends, is your profit maximization model. Yep, I hope this made some sense to you. And before I end the session, let me again announce that I'm starting a new batch for CA Final Costing starting from tomorrow. It'll be a morning batch, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and you'll get the details of that on the Unacademy page. Yes, you can see that on the chat window here. They have already shared the link for my profile on Unacademy. Go to my profile, follow my profile. You'll get all the updates from my profile over here. Yeah. And the batch is starting from tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. It will be a regular batch, not a fast track batch. Regular batch applicable for May 22 exam students. Material will be shared by the end of today's day, by the end of the day today, and also material will be shared in my class tomorrow. And it will be a batch for around approximately 90 days, 90 to 100 days will be the batch, and daily 3 hours will be the sessions. It's applicable for the students for May 22 and later onwards. Yes, so see you all tomorrow for my new batch starting. And until then, if you have any queries and questions, please do join my Telegram channel. You'll get all updates and even material. You can even ask me questions from my Telegram group. Yes, that's all. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye bye.